Hello, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba. What's your name?
Tara Erickson. It's fine. I'll do it.
Tara Erickson
Yeah.
is back on the channel. Welcome to January with the Real Rejects, Tara.
Bye-bye.
Say, Tara, you act sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's right. I do.
That she does. You know, I found this video that was requested. Actors who were never the same after a role.
Ooh. I'm never the same when I leave here. God, I just go, well, I just left the Real Rejects.
I'm a horrible person. That's why,
It's rough living.
I inflict a lot of psychological abuse on the guests that come on this channel.
I made a lot of sacrifices.
Tara's never an exception to that.
Nope.
So I'm excited to check this out because I'm fascinated by actors. I believe they should throw themselves very much into their roles, no matter how dark, but they should lead a damn good personal life, or else I'm going to judge them on Twitter. Let's do this, Tara.
Let's do it.
This video is about a year old, so
okay.
We'll see. We'll see if there's probably a little old news here.
We've all had tough days at the office, but some actors dedicated...
Roger Rabbit was never the same.
I love
Though these
that.
critically acclaimed, often award-winning performances are a delight to watch. The experience of preparing for and recovering from these roles did a number on the actors involved and left a lasting impression, not always for the positive. Here are several actors who went the extra mile for their craft. Isabella Gianni, Possession. Any horror buff knows the subway scene in Andrei Zalewski's 1981 Possession to be one of the most horrifying, shocking moments of body horror ever to grace the silver screen. And if you haven't seen the film, buckle up. You're in for a treat. Isabella Gianni won a Caesar Award for her performance, but the intense physical and emotional demands of the role made for an extremely difficult recuperation. A Gianni leader told a French magazine that it took her years of therapy to get Anna out of her system, and that she would never again attempt another role like it. Adrian Brody, the pianist. Though Brody's physical transformation for 2002's The Pianist is obvious, the actor has also discussed the enormous mental and emotional strain of portraying a Holocaust survivor, which earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor in 2003.
He was worth
My
it.
experiences of making this film made me very aware of the sadness and the dehumanization of people at times of war.
To prepare for the role, Brody gave up his apartment, sold his car, disconnected his phones, and moved to Europe. But it was the emotional effect of intense hunger during his extreme crash diet that he found the most surprising and difficult challenge to deal with. Brody told the BBC, "I've experienced loss, I've experienced sadness in my life, but I didn't know the desperation that comes with hunger." There were moments when he wasn't sure he'd get out of the experience with his sanity intact, saying it took a year and a half to, quote, settle back into things. Colin Firth, The King's Speech.
Really?
Colin Firth
Another
plays the
Oscar-winning
future King of
performance.
England as George VI in the Oscar-winning The King's Speech, and has to give a number of speeches in addition to a number of other royal duties. The film has a villain of sorts in the form of a near-debilitating stammer that ruins nearly every speech George gives until he hires a vocal coach.
Prince Albert, Frederick, Arthur, George.
Firth himself also worked closely with the voice coach and watched recordings of George speaking to better emulate both his vocal shortcomings as well as his physical mannerisms and nervous tics when stammering. Firth immersed himself so deeply in the role that he admitted in an interview that he still occasionally lapsed into the stammer when speaking casually, even briefly stammering during the interview itself. It's worth noting that this happened in May of 2011, a full 8 months after the film premiered in September of the previous year. Judging by how flawlessly he enunciated every syllable in Kingsman: The Secret Service while taking down thugs with an umbrella in 2014, it looks like Firth has since gotten over the stammer. Hugh Laurie, House.
Damn, you played that guy for like 10 years.
Right, forever.
Explained that they wanted a quintessentially American actor to play Dr. House, shortly before hiring British actor Hugh Laurie. Laurie apparently got the role because his American accent on his audition tape was so convincing nobody realized he was British. The director of the pilot even pointed to the tape and said, "See, this is what I want, an American guy."
I was expecting you in my office 20 minutes ago.
Really? That's odd because I had no intention of being in your office 20 minutes ago.
Laurie also really looked forward when it came to
Cool.
walking with a limp
Hell
and
yeah.
the King using House. So much so, the actor still walked with a limp in 2015 after 8 straight years of pretending to have one on set. Laurie also reportedly attempted to ease the load on his leg by occasionally switching the leg with the limp, something he claims nobody ever noticed or called him on during filming, or in the years since the show ended.
How interesting.
Apparently, Laurie's acting is so good, he can make people overlook both his Britishness and the fact he didn't always limp with the same leg, despite that being a defining aspect of the character. Bob Hoskins, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. One of late British actor Bob Hoskins' most famous roles was that of alcoholic LA gumshoe Eddie Valent in the film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Hoskins had to spend several hours a day for 8 months talking to and acting alongside cartoon characters who weren't really there.
Scotch on the rocks. And I mean ice.
Hoskins would later note that he learned how to hallucinate that Roger and the other characters were actually there to cope with the dissonance of constantly hearing their voices but never seeing them while filming. When shooting finally ended, Hoskins found himself constantly talking to himself and even hallucinating that Roger was sitting in the same room for months afterwards, prompting his doctor to advise him to take a much-needed break from acting. Heath Ledger.
What?
Oh.
I would have never expected that from Bob Hoskins.
So chilling that it landed him an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. Tragically, it was a posthumous award, as Ledger had died of an accidental overdose in January 2008.
Does it depress you, Commissioner, to know just how alone you really are?
In the years that followed his premature death, rumors swirled that the preparation for the dark role had contributed to Ledger's demise. Before filming began, Ledger put himself in a strict isolation, keeping a diary of disturbing images to enter the realm of the psychopath. He sometimes only slept 2 hours a night while filming, according to a November 2007 interview with the New York Times. It was a mixture of painkillers, anti-anxiety drugs, and sleeping pills that ultimately caused Ledger's death just 2 months later. Charlie Hunnam, American TV and movies. Charlie Hunnam has played everything from a soccer hooligan to a giant robot pilot, and he's known for his extraordinarily convincing American accent, making him one of a handful of chameleon-like British actors able to convincingly pass as American in his various roles.
You rescued her. You raised her. You're not protecting her now. You are holding her back.
Years of living in the States, however, took their toll on Hunnam's actual real-life accent, and when he appeared on TV in 2013 to plug a movie on Conan, he spoke with a bizarre amalgamation of various American dialects that prompted confusion and mockery, especially in Hunnam's native UK.
I went out just as he was rounding the side of the house, and he stopped, and I looked at him, and I said, "So we got business, mother?"
Hunnam spoke about this in 2017 when he admitted that his accent, or lack thereof, had gotten so bad that when he signed on to star in King Arthur, Legend of the Sword, he had to hire a dialect coach to relearn how to speak with an English accent.
Wow.
First time in my career, my name was above the title. It said Charlie Hunnam, boom, King Arthur. I said, here we go.
Janet Leigh.
Weird.
Award-winning actress Janet Leigh is known mainly for one role, playing the character who gets stabbed to death in a shower early on in Alfred Hitchcock's
That will
Psycho.
F you up.
The scene terrified millions, including Leigh. After filming Wrapped, she never felt comfortable in a shower again. In interviews, Leigh noted that she stopped taking showers after watching the scene.
Oh.
I still don't take showers.
Oh my God.
That's the truth.
On the rare occasion she had to take a shower, she would only use it briefly while staring directly at the door, and she wouldn't even draw the shower curtain. James Cromwell, Babe. James Cromwell is the kind of actor whose appearance is so distinctive most people know his face, but not his name. He scored one of his few leading film roles in 1995's Babe, in which he was upstaged by a talking pig. But it all worked out, given that it was not only a massive hit, but it changed Cromwell's life, turning him from a guy who occasionally flirted with vegetarianism into a vegan. Cromwell has called the experience of making the film a turning point in his life, recalling in an interview with Vice that he was profoundly affected by seeing a small piglet react to being put onto a patch of grass. He said, quote, "When that little pig was put down on that big pitch and saw the blue sky and the green grass and the sea, that pig just took off and said, I don't want any part of this. I'm out." Cromwell has been an ardent supporter of animal rights ever since.
I would have said I'm
especially
hungry.
pigs, which understandably now have a small place in his heart thanks to Babe and its sequel, Babe 2, A Pig in the City.
I know that I'm aware of their suffering, and I know that I have an obligation to talk about their suffering and to do something about their suffering.
Christopher McDonald, Happy Gilmore. Christopher McDonald isn't exactly a household name, but his performance in Happy Gilmore is so memorable that generations of filmgoers can't look at a picture of his face without blurting out, "Hey, it's Shooter McGavin!" That's just one role out of many in a solid career, but it looks like McDonald doesn't mind being forever associated with a hot-headed golf pro. McDonald told the AV Club he took the role basically because he enjoyed playing golf, and won a tournament shortly after being offered the script. He was hesitant at first, saying he wasn't eager to get back on a film set after shooting 2 movies back-to-back, but being paid to play golf and hang out with Adam Sandler seemed like a pretty sweet deal. According to McDonald, his golf game got sick, since he played for 5 hours a day, 6 days a week while filming. And, as an added bonus, now that he's synonymous with Shooter McGavin, he basically gets to play golf for free for the rest of his life.
How cool.
That's true.
Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.
Kind of a weird one to end it on, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're gonna end it on like the
most
psycho
tragic
lady
one.
who can't
Yeah.
take showers anymore.
Yeah, one where like, oh, they were traumatized forever.
Right? For
Where you're
life.
like, oh, this guy actually, he got a lot of perks from,
Yeah.
from being this guy.
Oh man.
How funny.
That's so crazy that Charlie's just like, he can't talk in an English accent anymore. The Pianist was a good one. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of moved by that one.
Yeah.
And the James Cromwell one about Babe.
Yes.
Because while I'm usually the one who is fascinated by, like, oh, they couldn't shake the character, when they come out from a life experience where my perception of things has just really changed since I did this role, I find that kind of moving and inspiring, actually. Right. But, you know, these guys are all pretentious assholes. They should just get out of their own heads. Gosh.
And get back to work.
Get back to work. You're acting.
Yeah, why isn't There Will Be Blood in here? What's his nuts?
What's his what? Nuts?
Yeah.
What's his nuts? Those are Daniel Day-Lewis's nuts.
Thank you so much. This whole thing should just only be about Daniel Day-Lewis, in my opinion.
He has a hard time shaking roles because he lives in the character for so long. DiCaprio, actually, for The Aviator, he had to go in therapy because he couldn't shake the OCD tendencies.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. You know, a lot of times you hear things about actors. I could see how someone who's not really aware of certain crafts that you go, that sounds a little pretentious, come on.
Right.
But it is such a psychological game.
Yeah.
That you find yourself thinking in life a little different.
Like the character. Especially if you're going to starve yourself or live with like OCD and you have to get used to that. He wakes up a certain way and moves a certain way. Like it kind of takes over your body. Just like when you hang out with friends. If you hang out with a certain friend and they have like a certain tic or they move a certain way and you hang out with them for like, let's say you go on vacation for like a week or 2 weeks, you start doing or speaking in their tone of voice or start doing those like weird tics that they have.
Well, they also have that thing where they've said like couples sometimes start to look alike.
Yes.
Because you start taking on each other's cadence, your body language, the expressions.
Yes.
It just happens sometimes. Yeah. And in terms of like craft of art, sometimes when I write a story, they're all on YouTube. All my stories are on YouTube.
Are they?
Yeah. I don't know why no one watches my stories, my scripts. I just put them on YouTube.
They're not good stories.
Oh. But sometimes when I write a story, Tara, I'll think so much about, especially the main character, and if it's a dark backstory, you end up developing this whole life. And sometimes when you're writing dialogue, you get so caught up in who they are, why they are the way they are. And I sometimes find myself, I'm kind of in a dark place now.
Right.
Like, I'm having a hard time getting rid... And that's just from writing a character and getting so into writing something. But you're doing it for hours on end that I can only imagine for an actor who has to know the physicality, the whole backstory, all these things of how that can change you. You have to live in that. I would never want Daniel Day-Lewis to take on a show.
Right.
Because I'm like, would he ever be able to shake that?
No, never.
Because when you hear about Hugh Laurie doing the show, I've never heard of that, of someone doing a TV show and having the hardest time shaking that off.
Right.
Like the Charlie Hunnam thing with the accent, I know Mel Gibson had a similar thing.
Oh, really?
Because he was born in the States, but he grew up in Australia. And if you watch like the first Lethal Weapon movie or the first Mad Max movie, you can hear his Australian accent.
Yeah.
But then over time, his accent just went away.
It's as if she evaporated straight through the walls.
That's the same thing. Like if you're standing around doing like a British accent for like quite a while, and then you just start to talk like that. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, you're
I
nailing
it. I could just do it for the rest of the time, and nobody would ever even know.
I would be like, holy shit.
They're like, oh my god, where are you from? Harry Potter land? Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, the British people would say that to you.
They all love it. They think I live over there, and I'm like, no, I live in Los Angeles. I don't even talk like this in real life.
I loved the British people were like, are you from Harry Potter land?
Harry Potter land. That's what they ask me. Ask.
You sound like you're from London.
I gotta admit, some of these are very unique cases to me. Like Bob Hoskins on the Roger Rabbit set, hallucinating.
Yeah.
Because he has to use his imagination so much in order to give a convincing performance. It's like, where's that fine line of personal life and acting? One thing that always comes to mind for me is, remember when Christian Bale lost his shit on set?
Do the audio guy.
Yeah. That was funny. I still listen to that audio from time to time. It just makes me laugh so much.
What the fuck are you doing?
I get it.
So ridiculous.
There have been times where I'm like, oh, I get it. Like I say that, where I'm like, I get why Christian Bale lost his mind.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Okay, Christian Bale can play a rageful Batman.
Yeah.
An American Psycho, and we go, amazing performance.
Yeah.
You know? Like, great. I love it.
Yeah.
But then you hear that audio of him losing his shit on
Oh,
set.
and everyone's like, forget about
Forget him.
it.
He's
You're
a horrible person.
monster.
But I'm like, but it takes that level of
Yes.
like, yes, you shouldn't treat people that way. Absolutely agree with
Right.
that. The thing is that sometimes you have to psychologically get to such a place though in order to portray this authenticity
Yeah.
that sometimes it bleeds into your personal life.
Mhm.
So I don't think it's right to crucify someone in the social media world
Right.
over that.
But also, if you haven't been on set and you're putting the amount of energy that he's to put into those roles,
Yeah.
and you do multiple takes on
Yeah.
set, and that one take was going so well and you were in it, and then some guy ruins it, I get why he would be angry. Again, let's bring it down a bit, Christian. But I
He's a
understand
big
it.
fan.
Yeah.
He watches this channel constantly.
It takes a lot of work to do like multiple
Yeah.
takes of what he does.
I mean, everyone's human. They have
Yeah.
their things. Bob Hoskins on Roger Rabbit.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never heard. Does every actor kind of go through that?
I imagine my cardboard box buddies around me sometimes, and when they're not
Is
there.
that what happens?
Yeah, I just reenact trays with him so much, and then I just sit there and go, "Oh no, it's fine," and then I'm like, "Oh, he's not even there."
Just imagine Tara losing her mind in a body horror movie.
Yeah, everyone thinks I already do anyway.
Michael Jordan on Space Jam went crazy. He just really believed
Yeah,
that he was hanging out with Bugs
with
Bunny.
the
He really
He was
immersed
never the-
himself in
never the
Space
same.
Jam. Yeah.
Oh God, God bless him.
God bless Michael Jordan. He is a committed actor.
I mean, but seriously, it does make sense with Roger, right? He was talking to nobody always, all of the time.
And he does a great job.
He does a great job.
So it makes perfect sense
why
he
you get really good at that.
Yeah, I believe in life that you become what you think and feel about, you know? You
Yes.
become that energy transfers. Other than a joke, I would never actually believe or think these guys are just pretentious humans, you know? Like this
Right.
is, if your mind is going there all the time, you would totally become something. I find it more impressive when you can kind of just turn it off. When you can go from like this crazy person to, yeah, I'm not that person now, you know?
Exactly.
That's more impressive to me, to be able to really disassociate and differentiate between the two. You
I
know?
hear Sandra Bullock is really good at that. Somebody worked with her on set and was like, she's really good at being in a scene, getting ready to cry, but not being like, I need a minute. She just like goes, does it, and then the second it's done, she's done, and like, cool. So do you guys?
Yeah.
What's our next thing?
Well, everyone has a different approach to what makes it work. There's not
Yeah.
one way to be an actor.
No, there's not at all.
Some actors don't do any backstory, and they
Right.
just kind of trust their subconscious and go into it and
Yeah.
let it go. And then there are other actors who are like,
Kristen, what's her name?
Kristen Stewart?
Thank you so much.
Yeah, shows in the Twilight movies.
She does this a lot and this and like
Yeah.
a lot of other things. Great.
I've heard Jennifer Lawrence doesn't really do a lot of backstory, which is
Okay.
crazy because she's an amazing actress.
She is. She's great.
And then some people like Daniel Day-Lewis feel like this is the only way I feel confident to do a
Right.
performance is to go this level of depth, you know?
I don't do any backstory. I don't even read the script. I just go, give it to me cold.
Yeah.
So I enter, and then I'm like, what's the line? And
Tara
they're
has
like,
an earpiece.
season's greetings from pandas. And I'm like, great, I've got it. Let's roll. Season's greetings. Hold on, I've got it. From pandas. And then we move on. We do the whole day like that. And they go, wow, you didn't do any prep work. And I go, don't you love it? And they go, we sure do.
It makes sense why you book so many non-union commercials.
Yeah, doesn't
That's
it?
amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Sick burn!
Burn!
Wow, wow! Gregory's on top of it today.
Today. Anyway, this was a good video. You can catch Tara at Flappers in Burbank sometime soon.
Sometimes you can catch me there. Other times you can catch me on my YouTube channel.
Yes, go
Oh,
subscribe
this is
right
a
away.
good accent.
But before I let Tara venture off into this accent, I wanted to give a
Okay.
shout out to someone at our Patreon. A man named Daniel Gallagher. Can you do a Scottish accent? He's Scottish.
Yes.
Come on.
Daniel Gallagher.
Oh, ooh.
Daniel Gallagher.
Ooh, that's not pretty.
Daniel
Ooh.
Gallagher. Daniel Gallagher.
Can you roll your R's? Gallagher.
Oh,
Daniel
Daniel Gallagher.
Daniel Gallagher.
Daniel Gallagher.
If I were to do a Scottish accent, I have to do this thing where I talk to the side of my face.
Daniel Gallagher.
Daniel Gallagher.
Daniel Gallagher.
This is your shout out, buddy. We just chant your name a
Just
bunch
chant
of
your
times.
name a lot.
Daniel Gallagher.
Gallagher.
Him and I talk a lot about movies. And you've had your name said a variety of different ways. It's the new I Am Groot around the Real Rejects.
Look at that. Gallagher.
Gallagher. Daniel Gallagher.
Gallagher. Or just Gallagher. Or like Gallagher. Or like Gallagher.
You see, a lot of times when I do shout outs, I like to go off of the interaction I've had with the patrons and then, really work off that.
Sure.
But I figured, let's let Tara do
Why
her
not
thing.
work off my genius ideas instead? I mean,
Shout out complete. You guys can subscribe to the Reject Nation. Click notification bells. Follow Tara on YouTube and social media. Check us out on Patreon. We got full-length TV show reaction watch-alongs, weekly Q&As. John does music video coverage. See you soon.